But anything that can be done on a computer can and will be done better by AI agents. That is my honest opinion. So if you are, maybe you're a plumber or something like that, I think you're actually much better off. I don't see a robo plumber coming anytime soon. That is, I think, much, much further away because hardware is a much harder problem to solve than software when it comes to AI.
Hands that labor, hearts not bright, worry and stress never light. Join as we learn our right, understanding the future, understanding our fight. Worker Class Podcast. Worker Class Podcast.
Hi, my name is Bryan Baker, and this is the Worker Class Podcast, your Working Joe's guide to big questions. Our guest on this debut episode is a terrific guy named David Pourquery, CEO and founder of Groas, which I like to call Grow Your Ass. His company is a cool new startup that helps regular folks like me optimize their Google ad accounts. Now, if you're like me, you do your best making sense of the ever-changing dashboard in Google Ads, hoping you're doing it in a way that doesn't flush your money down the toilet every month. David's system utilizes cutting-edge AI technology to summon hordes of AI agents that will maintain your campaigns and optimize them on the fly. Not for Google's bottom line, but for your bottom line. Welcome, David. Super happy to have you here.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on.
So let's just start with a little backgrounder. Where were you born? Where did you grow up? That kind of stuff. If you can just sort of give us a little bit of the lay of the land there.
I was actually born in France. But I moved to the UK when I was very young. I think like 1 or 2 years old. So as you can tell by my accent, I grew up in London.
Actually, your accent makes you very trustworthy. I don't know if you know that about North Americans, but we just naturally somehow trust folks that have the British accent. It's crazy.
I've heard that.
But please go on. Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up in London. And now no longer based there. Based a bit all over. But yeah, that's a quick intro as to I guess my early life.
Sure. Yeah. So, and I know from listening to some of your previous interviews that you're a bit of a serial entrepreneur. And I always like to say that every success is made of a pile of failures. And that's kind of the way the world works, isn't it? I mean, what comes to mind when I say that little? I'm sure you have something to say to that.
Yeah, true. My first ever business I did when I was 19 years old. And I did it whilst I was at university or college. It was a summer camp that was teaching teenagers how to hack into computers. That was the business.
Cool.
It was a lot of fun running it. But yeah, that was, I guess,
was it on the up and up, or did they know what you were doing, or was it sort of on the down low?
It was completely transparent. I think we were the only people at the time doing that. But genuinely, not just like teaching all cybersecurity, but like teaching people how to hack, but like doing it in an ethical way, obviously. So that was my first business. It was a lot of fun, and it taught me a lot. I think it taught me a lot. Then ended up doing a few other things in ecom, and now I'm doing Groas. But yeah, I think everything compounds, and even you learn from jobs as well that you do. I think everything's always a constant learning curve.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, the learning curve is tough and frustrating. It's like banging your head against, a wall. I was a working Joe until I was about 42, and then I got into business sort of for the first time, and I had to de-internalize a lot of lessons to be in business and grow. Really took me a while to actually knock that out of my head and sort of get into the groove of what it's like to not have a check that comes every week or every other week, and to rely on money that's coming in sort of sporadically based off of my proactive efforts. That was a real learning curve.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly, it's like eating glass a lot. Like you have some good days. It's like, I think you have to be able to cope with good and bad a lot. There are constant problems, constant issues to fix, and then you're always the one responsible for those. There's no one you can call on to. And maybe you have co-founders, maybe that can help, but everything is on the line, kind of. So, but I quite like that. I quite like the risk. So,
is there a moment that you can sort of hone in on for us where you kind of said to yourself, holy shit, I think I'm onto something that a lot of people are going to want here.
I mean, maybe that I was like, oh, wow, okay, we're really onto something. When I first started thinking of building this, so at this point, I'd spent a lot of my money on Google Ads over the years. I knew the platform very well. I knew what it could do. I knew what it couldn't do. But it really was just building one feature first. This idea of basically just having dynamic landing pages for every search term. That was like the one little thing I zeroed in on to start. And I bought the domain groas.ai, and I set up the crappiest website ever with like a couple of sentences on what we were doing, and an email collection box. And I think I just was posting on Reddit a little bit, just about Google Ads in general.
And what year was that? Like, how long ago was that?
And this was at the start of this year.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
okay.
And I was just posting a little bit on Reddit, and then really quickly I got to 100 emails registering interest for this product, this concept that I was developing in my mind. And I was like, okay, fine, there could be something here. Then I think for me the turning point where I was like, okay, I should really go all in on this was when we were working with big spenders, so people who knew what they were doing, people spending 6-7 figures a month for Google Ads. And they started saying, wow, David, this is really great. Where has this been like my whole life? And then I was like, okay, fine. Like now let's just go all in.
Nice. So it was that affirmation from customers that you had a model that was kicking some ass, or getting some results for those clients.
Correct. That's exactly right.
And can you describe what Groas is? Just give us the, in your own words, what does it do and what makes it different? I know that there's your competitors out there, they've kind of added AI on as almost like an afterthought. And I know that your system is built with AI in the foundation. Can you just talk to how that makes it different and the advantages you see by doing it that way?
In a sentence, I would just say it's AI agents for Google Ads. So where we're headed towards quite soon is basically fully autonomous campaigns that completely run themselves and can outperform human marketers. Like that is our goal, to be able to outperform 99.9% of human marketers that exist, and do that without anyone ever having to actually use the product. That's the goal. That's where we're building towards. Fully autonomous campaigns. As of right now, in terms of competitors, it's not something I ever look at or track. I'm not bothered by this. I just try to stay super focused on what we're doing and what I'm hearing from customers. That's the only, like, my North Star metric. There are some out there, but there's nothing that I've seen that is doing the sorts of things that we're doing, particularly the stuff at landing page level. There isn't yet. Now there will be people who come and copy us. That's just the reality of business.
Flattery, right?
Exactly right. But as of right now, I think we're building something pretty niche, and just laser focused on solving those problems. So there hasn't been anything that's come so far, but that might change.
And I know that you work with some of the folks at Google, and they like what you're doing. Can you talk to that a little bit? Why do they like you so much?
Yeah, that was actually one of the things. So when I first started building Groas, I was very concerned of this. I was like, hold on. Are they gonna shut me off, or like what's going on here?
Right.
That was, especially at the beginning, I was like, it was this big business model risk, right, at a base level. And they ended up finding out about us quite quickly because just people were talking, and so they reached out, and now we have a very good relationship with them. And there's two reasons why they like us. So one is because we bring new advertisers to the ecosystem, right? So people who maybe had never run Google Ads before, but hear about Groas, and they're like, oh, okay, this looks like it could give me results. They end up making a Google Ads account, signing up to Groas, and therefore joining the ads ecosystem and spending money through Google, so everyone's happy. That's step one. The second one is, so for their bigger spenders, right? So people spending 6-7 figures a month, we help those people become more profitable. So there's a misconception that if someone becomes more profitable, they'll spend less because they don't have to. That's wrong. What ends up happening is they spend more actually over time, right? As your campaigns become more profitable, you want to scale it. So Google likes us because of that. So those two reasons, I would say. So we have a really good relationship with them, and all our customers, no matter how small your ad spend is, even if you're spending $500 a month, you're still going to get access to Google level support directly through us, because we have an internal team there supporting us. That's something that just isn't possible otherwise. If you're spending $500 a month on Google, you will not get any, if at all, any support. So that's another benefit.
I know that you haven't done any of your own real spends, advertising spends, that your growth has been all organic so far, which is amazing. And I found you that way. Gemini actually brought you to my attention. And then I watched one of your previous interviews with a different podcaster, and then I reached out to you, and then that's how we ended up. I signed up for your system because I loved the concept, and I love the way you had it organized and the way you explained it. So and then I reached out, and then we started talking, and then we ended up here. So I think that that's sort of a testament to Google liking you in some fashion. I mean, they're Gemini, AI loves you. AI is like, oh my God, I love this guy.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
True. Yeah, I mean, a lot of our, basically 90%, maybe it's split 80-20 of our signups come from either so Google search or like LLMs, so like Gemini, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, like these systems recommending us to customers, or to other customers referring other customers. So it right now, those are the two main channels. We're going to start like expanding that channel quite soon.
Can you so just describe to our listeners what an AI agent is? I mean, it sounds pretty rudimentary, and I know you're in it really deep. And to you, this probably seems very simple, but can you just sort of break it down? What is an AI agent? Are they amorphous? Or is it one AI agent that does everything, or is there actually individual AI agents, or how do you categorize it? How do you describe it?
Yeah, so the term will throw a lot of people off, right? It sounds something like out of Star Trek or something. It's still software that's running right in the background. It's nothing new in that way. AI agents are basically tools that run autonomously, but can also talk to each other and feed data and context about what they're solving back and forth to each other. So you can have, for example, let's just say in Groas, you can have one agent that focuses only on finding new and relevant keywords to add to your campaign. That's one agent. But then maybe there's another agent that's focused solely on the problem of making sure you don't overspend your budget. But these agents have to talk to each other, communicate with each other, to make sure that holistically, all the agents are performing their jobs well, and with enough knowledge of what the other agents are doing in the first place. Yeah, so that's as simple as explanation as I can give it. It's really software that works autonomously without any human involvement, and that can talk to each other and feed each other context about the problems they're solving.
It's amazing. And that's the thing. Artificial intelligence is coming so far, so fast. You know, it's one of those things. It seems like they talk a lot about it as being exponential growth now, as opposed to just growth. How does when you're growing a business in this area, how do you keep up with all these changes? I mean, it seems like if you had a great idea, you say you implement an agent, is that agent potentially going to be outdated in 3 weeks or 3 months, or how does that work?
Yeah, really quite possibly. You see it happen to a lot of startups. They'll build a product or something, just for then OpenAI to release something very similar in the weeks following that, right? And OpenAI have obviously a big distribution, so it puts that startup at a lot of risk. It's moving unbelievably quick. I think the only thing, that I do at least, to try stay up to date, it's probably Twitter is probably the best source. I think LinkedIn is not really where it's at. I mean, LinkedIn is probably where you see the stuff after it's come out on Twitter. I think Twitter, if you follow the right people on there, right, the right researchers, the right companies, that is I think the best way of staying up to date, I would say. And that's just what I do, to be honest.
And you kind of have to choose something, right? I mean, you can't, it's not like you're an AI agent. It's not like you can be plugged into, everything is, you're a human being. You
Yep.
have to somehow not get overwhelmed and build your business. And it must be an amazing journey. I mean, before we move on to just talking about the sort of the big umbrella idea of where AI is and how fast it's going, can you talk to that? I mean, what's your journey like? What's your day like? What's your days like? Is it a blur or what?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a blur. It varies a lot. It varies a lot. Also depends, I guess, where I'm at. I've been doing a bit more traveling recently, so that always throws things up. But I mean, what I like spending my time on the most, the thing I enjoy by far is thinking about the product, working with engineers to come up with the best product possible, talking to customers to get that feedback. That is probably the thing I enjoy most and do most. Then there's all the other stuff, right? Then there's the commercial stuff, right? Running demos, helping existing customers, probably the biggest spending ones. Those sorts of things take up a good amount of time as well. But what I like to be doing most is working on product. Then there's also all the stuff of running a company, right? Hiring, marketing. There is always something to be done. So even if I'm taking it like a bit of an off moment, having lunch or something, there's a million notifications I'm getting on my phone of new things that they need to be done. So it's really nonstop. But I enjoy it. It doesn't feel like work. So yeah. But it's definitely a lot. 7 days a
How
week.
hard is it to find the qualified talent these days? Just on a
Yeah, hard. I mean, it also depends a lot, I think, on the job role. I think finding good engineers is, and a lot of people speak to that. That's why there's a million engineer recruitment agencies that exist. Finding good software engineers is becoming harder and harder because you're not just selecting for can they code this algorithm well. You're selecting for all of the other skills. Do they understand the problem? Are they motivated at a basic level to try and solve this problem? Do they communicate well? There's a million other, do they work in a team well? There's a million other things that you're looking for, and those qualities are often harder to find in engineers than maybe other roles. So finding good engineers is hard. Like recently I hired a new engineer. I put out a job post, got maybe 5,000 applications. I personally filtered through all of them to then, all those CVs, all those webs, everything to then, I think I ran between, 60, 65 interviews from those 5,000, right? So I was quite stringent on that to then land on one. And I would honestly say, actually, and not to be too brutal, but of those, 65, 70 interviews I ran, 60 were crap. 60 were a waste of time. And I don't mean to sound bad, but and that's just reality. I think finding good engineers that align with the mission is really hard. Other roles I think are easier. So maybe sales, I think it's easier. I think the traits for that normally come like pre-selected, right? But an engineer, I think, especially at an early stage, you want a lot of things. So it's not been easy.
Yeah, I know. I know that this is the scale is different here, but I heard that Zuckerberg offered one of his a scalper offered some programmer like $1 billion or something, like a crazy, insane amount.
That's it. That's nothing. Then after, once you find the right person, you have to come to a good agreement, right? That keeps them motivated. So what you're seeing there, those are really AI researchers, right? Those are like really high level academic people. And to be honest, at that level, like the stakes, I think, are a lot higher.
As a microcosm, I guess it just makes me think that you're sort of, I mean, there's a lot of AI potential for business startups, right? So you are probably competing with a lot of other companies with a lot of different ideas to bring to market. So that's probably, it's probably a shrinking pool, I guess.
For sure. The only I would say counter to that, and where it makes it easier, I guess, from a recruitment perspective, is that AI has changed software engineering completely. And this is not just like speaking crap, but it's just the reality. Like what an engineer, it can take one engineer to do what maybe 5 or 10 did like 3-4 years ago, right? With the help of
Using
AI.
AI tools.
Using AI, exactly, to write the code for them.
Yeah.
The harder bit becomes verifying what the AI has done, and therefore you actually do need some pretty good engineering background to do that. You can't just let it do everything itself. But the software engineering as a profession has changed dramatically. That's one of the things that AI already has had a pretty big impact, I think, on the job market for software engineers, without a doubt.
Well, this is the worker class podcast. So how does just is it, I mean, are we talking entry level? You need a 4-year degree in a university somewhere in order to get this, or is it possible to kind of pick up some of this to get in on that action if you have the right attitude and, in a year or something in retraining? I mean, what's your sense of that?
Yes,
That idea.
100%. I do not look at education or schooling, whatever, when hiring for an engineer. It doesn't even cross my mind. Don't care.
Diplomas on the wall. Nah. I need to.
It's irrelevant.
So what do you? Is it oral presentation? Is it?
No, it's past projects, like how much coding they're actually doing.
Portfolio,
right?
yeah.
Portfolio, exactly. And especially now with AI, you do not need a degree to learn to write good code. Like, you just don't. There's a big thing called vibe coding now, where people are just using AI to code things, and like learning with the AI what it's coming back with. So they'll say to the AI, "Oh, write me this function." The AI will write it. And then they'll be like, "Oh, okay, now I know how to write this function," right? And then they're building entire applications doing this, right? So you absolutely don't need.
I'm trying to figure out if you kind of feel like that's real, or if that's sort of a cheat, or where do you fall on that vibe coding idea?
I think it's. I mean, it's what's going to happen. I think in 3-4 years' time, I don't know if we have software engineers anymore, or at least nowhere near in the same capacity. Like, seriously, I think maybe if before you had a team of, let's say, 20 engineers, you had like 5 people working on the front end, 10 people on the back end, and then another 5 working on the database. I think in 3-4 years' time, you have one person telling an AI exactly what to do and verifying the output. Right now, it's more like still, it's gone from 20 to maybe 3 or 4, maybe. I think in 3 or 4 years' time, it's just one person writing in plain English, "Hey, please do this, implement it this way." And the AI is basically doing things correct 99% of the time. So you do not need, in my opinion, a degree to learn to code anymore.
That's pretty freaky. It's a good segue into this bigger sort of the overarching sort of idea of where AI is taking society.
Comedy improv is like yoga for your social skills. It builds flexibility, confidence, and teamwork in a way that really counts. Whether you're in our city or not, I encourage you to find your nearest improv school. Sign up for a class or book a team building session. If you're in Southwestern Ontario, check out Railway City Improv. It's a fantastic way to fight anxiety, boost your career, and truly thrive. You'll be amazed at how stepping out of your comfort zone can transform your life. So why wait? Dive into improv and watch your social skills soar.
I mean, it's a big question. I decided I'm not totally settled on this title, but I want to call this section, "Why the fuck should a working class Joe or Jane give a shit about AI?" So when I ask you that, I think the answer is obvious because it's going to change everything. But can you speak to that? I mean, why should, I live in a small town. I've done a lot of regular working jobs before I got into business late in life. And I know a lot of people that are just nurses and PSWs and, they work in Tim Hortons, they work in a coffee shop or, I guess a lot of service industry people, right? I mean, how do you see their lives being impacted in the short, medium, long term? And you don't have to have an answer. This is sort of like, I know that you got your nose to the grindstone building your business, but I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on that.
I do. They are much better off than the white collar workers doing anything on a computer. Much better off. But then what happens to the economy, how that might affect them later on, that's another question. But I think anything that can be done on a computer, right? Maybe you are a legal associate, maybe even like you're an investment banker, like these like high level, whatever, white collar type of jobs. those are all already at risk. And a lot of that stuff is going to be automated away. I mean, we're seeing it right now with software engineering, like I said. The hiring market for that is pretty bleak. So I think anything that can be done at a computer over a long enough period of time, maybe 5 years, maybe 10. I think a lot depends as well on adoption and integration of these tools, and also if there's any safeguarding by governments. That's another discussion. But anything that can be done on a computer can and will be done better by AI agents. That is my honest opinion. So if you are, maybe you're a plumber or something like that, I think you're actually much better off. I don't see a robo plumber coming anytime soon. That is, I think, much, much further away, because hardware is a much harder problem to solve than software when it comes to AI. There's people trying to build these things right now as we speak, but that's a lot further away, I think, than we think. Yeah, that would be my prediction.
It's quite an irony, isn't it? I grew up loving Star Trek, the original, James Kirk, and I remember the whole notion there was that humans were special, right? I mean, that we had creativity and we had things that machines would never be able to do. And then you had automation coming and robotics coming into factories. So the assumption is that machines are going to take the hard work first, and that creative side is like painting and all the rest of it would be the very last to go, if at all, because humans were special. It just turns out that we're not that special at all. And when you think about it that way, it kind of makes sense, right? Because it's all about pattern recognition, and pattern recognition is, that's what machines computers are great at. So I guess you just sort of drill down, and it's just really amazing and mind-blowing. So how does that impact the economy? I mean,
look, who knows? I think there's badly is the short answer, I think. Possibly, at least in the short term. So Sam Altman, the founder of, well, one of the founders of OpenAI, even well before he made his big breakthrough with ChatGPT and LLMs, and before it was, it was a lot more popularized, he wrote a blog article, right? This was in 2017, I think, 2018, with his vision of what a post-AI world economy would look like. And in that article, he basically advocates for universal basic income for everybody. So you have the machines doing all the work, and everyone is just given basically the necessary income to survive and spend time doing what they want to do. When I first read that article a long time ago, I was like, nah, this is a little far-fetched. There's no way. Every day, I start to believe more and more that thing he wrote is going to become true. And it's quite scary. It's quite scary, but that is, and maybe I'm too negative on the topic, right? You have other people who will say no, but that would be
more realistic, right? I mean, that's the thing, right? You start to think about, okay, 20, 30, 40% unemployment, young men without any prospects, right? The political implications. I mean, a basic, guaranteed basic income sounds a lot like, what do they love to throw around the word communism? All of our political paradigms that we've all been polarized on, are just going to get tweaked like 9-0 in that kind of scenario. I mean, how do we adapt? How do human beings adapt?
Yeah, I don't know. Human beings will adapt, right? That's one thing that we're, I think, pretty decent at in our track record. But I don't think it will be easy. But maybe I'm being too negative, right? You have other people who say, no, it will just find new jobs for humans. The AI will take away the boring stuff. And they point back to all the previous big technology revolutions we've had. But then you have other people who say, no, this time it's different.
Yeah.
That's what they said. This time it's different. So I don't know. I don't want to be too negative, I think, on the topic, but
no, I don't mind. I don't think of it as negativity. I think of it as realism. I mean, there is some ways of structuring it. So one thing that I've heard is this idea of ownership, right? Someone said to you, hey, here's an AI machine that will do your job for you. You can go and do whatever you want, and this AI machine will do your job for you. I mean, most people would go, hey, right on. I kind of hate my job, right? A lot of folks, anyways. And then they would go off and do whatever they want. But if someone came up to them and said, hey, here's an AI machine and it belongs to your boss, right? Now all of a sudden you're shit out of luck, right? So in a sense, it comes down to a simple thing of ownership. Who owns the AI that is going to take your job? What do you think about that idea?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, government's probably going to get there. They already are doing it. When government do that, then it's going to be even more scary, I think.
Yeah, because they
Yeah,
have to force. Yeah.
yeah,
Go
it's
ahead,
hard
sorry.
because, well, like, obviously, then the government knows all this, right? I think to an extent, they're aware of the possible implications of what might happen. So they're still trying to put constraints on it, and they call it AI safety, and you have people working on AI safety. But at the same time, there's also a bit of an arms race that's happening, right? Against China and other countries building their own models. So they can't just sort of pause everything and say, "Oh, let's chill out." No, they still have to keep going. But there's a lot of unknowns. We'll see. I mean, yeah, potentially a scary prospect if it gets into the wrong hands.
Yeah. It's this level of change is certainly unprecedented for, I used to, I think I told my kids on the weekend, it used to be that if you were born a Fisher person, you were going to be a Fisher person and your kids would be a Fisher person. Right. And, I mean, that changed in our generation, certainly, where change was happening, but now it's like, 100 years of change in 10 years. It's, we just can't keep up, man. I mean, so some of and this is some of the stuff I've heard as to what, people can retrain for. So, and you tell me if this rings true to you. Okay. So electrical engineering, some level of robotics. One person said, I think maybe a little jokingly, get a job in the public sector because they never change. Their jobs never go away. They always be the same. So,
Yeah, I'd agree with that one. Yeah,
right. Anything else come to mind? I mean, what would you do? Do you have kids by chance or?
not yet.
Pretty-
I'm still young.
Yeah. You're still pretty young. So, yeah, I mean, what would you say to some, peers that aren't sure what to do?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I think ultimately, like anything, regardless of what's happening, you still have to do something that you enjoy and something you're passionate about.
So entrepreneurship.
That's definitely an option. That's definitely an option, right? If you find your niche in something that you have, I guess, a bit of an unfair advantage in, then absolutely. And that's already happening, right? A lot of people are moving towards entrepreneurship. Right? There's more small businesses still being formed. I think than ever before. Especially with the online world, how easy it is to get funding these days. It's becoming more and more of an option, right? So yeah, I mean, I think it depends a lot on the person, but I think generally my advice, and I don't like giving advice to people too much,
Yeah.
but
Right.
if I had to, I would say do something you enjoy, and then I guess the rest should flow, hopefully.
Yeah, fair enough. We used to work in a grocery store, right? I remember years ago on nights, I would work as a grocery clerk and we would stock the shelves at night and they installed cameras. And we were like, that's fucking bullshit, man. Those fuckers, they're like, what do they think? They don't trust us. What are they going to, they're going to count how many minutes I spend in the washroom, what, right? And then the response was always, well, you know what? They can't watch it 24/7. Right. I mean, it's not like there's somebody up there watching us and counting how many minutes but these days, the boss could come in the morning and have an AI agent that says, you know what, Bryan spent freaking 20 minutes in the washroom last night and he did it 5 times or something. I mean, you can't get away with anything. And then you extrapolate that out into the public sphere, right? Laws are a deterrent. I mean, if you can't get away with breaking any law ever, because AI is monitoring every moment, whereas, freedom lives somewhere in between there, right? I mean, it's not that laws are meant to be broken, but laws are meant to be a deterrent, not to be enforced every single fucking time.
Yeah. No,
So I kind of worry about that shit too,
I do too. And you see already in countries, I mean, China already is a pretty good example where they have these AI surveillance cameras basically monitoring everything in the city 24/7. But not just the physical, but also the online world, right? I saw something in the UK where like people are now getting, I think it happened to a friend of a friend, they're getting arrested for saying, we're not talking about like heinous, whatever, like crazy things, but just something that the government would disagree with, right? That's quite interesting, right? Like police showing up to your house because you put out a tweet about something. And I'm not, it's not hate speech, right? It's just something that goes against what the government is proposing. That's quite interesting. That's quite interesting.
Because like, really, freedom, it's like when people talk about freedom, it's like, well, what rights of yours have been infringed, right? I mean, point to a moment where your right has been infringed. But it's not really, freedom is about being able to live not in fear. It's about not having to walk on eggshells everywhere, thinking that, geez, am I doing it right? Is everything okay? Right? Did I misspeak, or does the freaking banana in my pocket look like a gun or something? Right? I mean, and that's the thing, right? If AI is watching everything, it's kind of a scary world, right? These are big questions, man. Okay, final comment if you have one, and then we'll close her up.
I would say go live in the woods, man. Honestly,
right? Yeah.
No, honestly, maybe buy some Bitcoin if the currency collapses, and then go live in the woods somewhere. I think big cities are probably more at risk, and where all this stuff is going to be enforced a lot more, right? Because there's more population density, more crime. So I'd imagine that's where these sorts of things will be enforced most. If you're living a bit more remotely, I think you should be better off.
Yeah, I mean the other yeah, I mean that's a surefire thing. I think too is you can't just disconnect yourself politically. We got to have politicians that are on top of this shit, man. I mean, we really do, don't we? I mean, it's like fuck. I mean, otherwise we're screwed. I mean, we really have to have politicians on top of this shit.
Yeah, but a lot of them I would, from what I've seen, are not it's just AI native,
competent. Yeah. You know what? A lot of politicians, I know from experience, because I know a few of them, especially at the local level, they care. I mean, they really give a shit. But they're the ones that they don't know how to handle this sort of polarized online freaking vitriol. Like 90% of us are in the middle. We agree on 90% of everything. But you got 5% on either side that are just making us all hate each other. Drives me freaking nuts.
For sure.
Anyways, I promised you the last word, and I took it. Sorry, man. I get animated about this shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think at least my thoughts overall is, it's quite a interesting world. I think just try stay prepared. Try keep current with what's happening. And I think overall it should work out for the best. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that final note of optimism. That's very apt. And congratulations on such a great business idea, man. I think an approach. I think you might be one of these guys that it was really the right person at the right time with the right idea. And I know that you're throwing your heart and soul into it, which I think is, luck is about being often, you gotta be lucky, but you have to be in the right circumstances to get lucky. Right. So, so the timing might be right for you. And I'm really happy for that, man. I think you're a great guy, and I'm excited about the business, and I'm excited about potentially, it helping me with my own Google Ads campaign, because fuck, man, I banged my head against that thing for the last few years, and it's frustrating as hell. So I'm hoping that it'll help me, dedicate more of my time towards other stuff, which is, there's always, as we mentioned, as a business owner, there's always a pile of shit that's got to be done. So, can't thank you enough, David. Congratulations again, and safe travels out there. Good luck on your hiring stuff, and Thanks so much, man.
Thanks, Bryan. Yeah, it was a pleasure to be on, and I hope we can do it again, maybe in a year or two, see how the world has changed.
Sure. Yeah, we can compare notes and see how things are
Yes.
going. And that's
right.
wonderful. All right.
Okay.
Take care, man.
Thanks, Bryan. Cheers.
Hands that labor, hearts not bright. Worry and stress, never light. Join as we learn our right. Understanding the future, understanding our fight. Worker Class Podcast.